connected to that thing when it's supposed to be connected. Oh, it is. Why is it red? He's doing something on the phone if I'm in there. I have a feeling we're not going to be on air. You know,
We're on. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Thursday, June 4th. We will bring the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I will await approval or a motion for the approval of meeting minutes for May 20, 2026.
Make a motion to approve meeting minutes for May 28th, 2026.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, approval of warrants for week 23, payroll warrant 62 for $37,210.15, and appropriation warrants 63 for $44,471.42. I'll wait a motion.
I make a motion to approve warrants for week 23, payroll warrant number 62, and appropriations warrant number 63.
I will second that.
Give a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, moving right into new business initially. Last week we discussed that the board had voted to approve the funds for the new implement of the DEA drug deal. We brought in the deputy chief anyways, is here to explain that these new mandates from the state have been passed down, that we've been given 60 days, I believe, to, or less than that now, it's gonna be in effect by July 14th.
Yeah, it's actually not, I've got a presentation with the full background, but just to clarify, it's not a mandate by the state. It's not actually a mandate from any government entity. The situation is being forced on us by a private entity, actually.
Wow.
Who's that?
Maine Health.
Okay.
Just the background on this, what started all this is something called the Protecting Patient Access to Emergency Medications Act. That was passed in 2017, and like many government things, it's got a long name, but essentially the reason for this was to prevent the diversion of controlled substances by either theft or misuse. So, you know, it's part of the Controlled Substances Act, and it's administered under the DEA, and the intention of it was to widen the amount of entities that were eligible for DEA registration so that they could purchase their own and maintain their own medication supply, whether it was ambulance services, small clinics, anything of that nature, veterinarians' offices. It's not previously been a mandate for EMS services in any state, and up until this point, fairly recently, only 18 states had signed on to allow that to take effect within their state. So in late February, early March, very close to the time that the rule took effect, I think it was within about a week and a half of the actual date of the rule taking effect. It says Maine EMS services, about 210 Maine EMS services received an email, actually all Maine EMS services that get our medications from Maine Health received an email telling us that this act had been passed. They didn't really have a lot of information, they just referred us to the federal website, but we were all basically told, don't worry, nothing is changing, go on about your business. 210 services currently obtain their medications for our ambulances through Maine Health facilities. That includes controlled substances and non-controlled substances. We exchange on a one-for-one basis, whether we've administered a medication to a patient, then we then replace that single medication. Or if we have expired medications, we are billed for those, but we replace them on a one-for-one basis. That makes supplying, especially for smaller towns, much more affordable than maintaining a large stockpile of medications, where many of these medications don't get used because they're for more extreme situations. So on May 13th of this year, all 210 services that get our medications from Maine Health received an email from the head of pharmacy that as of July 14th, they were going to cease supplying controlled substances. And as of October 1st, they would cease supplying non-controlled substances. So obviously that was a big change from several months or 2.5 months previously where they said, don't worry, nothing's going to change. What happened immediately prior to this is that emergency legislation was passed by the Maine House that basically had Maine sign on to allowing services to obtain DEA registrations. The legislation was passed at the request of the Maine EMS director. Maine EMS is our regulating body for the state for anything EMS related. I say most, as far as I know, there are only a couple of EMS services, mainly those who are represented by Maine EMS board members and our heads of services on the Maine EMS board. We're the only services made aware that this legislation had passed. No, none of us were told. We received no notification from the state that this legislation had been passed. So it was quite a shock. Maine Health essentially made a decision to force EMS services to obtain DA registration. That information was obtained through a regional EMS board member who happens to be deputy chief at another department. He spoke with Maine Health because he was very concerned, as are many of us. And the answer he was given was that they wanted to see us do this. This is not mandatory. It's not required at all. DEA themselves have stated that we could keep doing everything as we have been. We are not required to obtain DEA registrations. Maine Health can continue to supply medications. Everything we're doing is fine. So Maine EMS appeared to have no plan to implement any of this or to deal with any of this, even though they were aware that Maine Health was making this decision. Essentially, Maine EMS has just completely sat this out, which is unusual because they tend to kind of have their thumb on just about everything else. 60 days is a very unprecedented time frame for this sort of thing. The DEA themselves advise that closer to a year is more appropriate because there is quite a process involved in this. Maine Health was contacted by the regional board member, and they didn't indicate that they would work with individual services, so that this time frame is not cast in stone, which in and of itself is disturbing because that's a bad faith statement that they made. Almost as if it was intended to induce panic, which it has done. So what is essentially an unfunded mandate, each EMS service is going to have to obtain DEA registration and supply their own medications. This is going to be, it's a significant increase in operating costs across the board for every service. Many services that are affected by this are small services like ours. There's several larger services in places like Westbrook, South Portland, Portland, who obviously have more ability, not only financially, but also more staff, more administrative and operational capability than we do. But the majority of the services affected by this are small ones like ourselves. Our vendors that we're able to obtain medications from, once we are DEA registered, only sell in bulk. So where we previously would only have to maybe get 2 or 3 of one medication at a time, sometimes just one, which lowers, and we're also paying wholesale pricing, we would have to buy every single medication in boxes of 10 or 25. Some of these medications cost hundreds of dollars per box. There's a number of them that are $200 to $300 per box. A certain amount of them will not get used and will thus be wasted. And we have no way to recoup that cost. And there's also a significant cost just to meet the requirements of DEA registration, for tracking, record keeping, security, storage. There's a significant amount of requirements, and it's a very complicated application process as well. And we also don't know how long it takes, because the DEA can't give us that answer, how long that process takes. It can be a month, it could be 6 months. Currently only about 30 services, maybe it's slightly more now, in the state of Maine have filed their applications. So I expect that there's going to be a dramatic increase in activity with that. So we actually have no idea when our application would even be processed. And once our application is processed, there's also an interview process that goes with that. So we maintain 3 non-controlled boxes. We have 1 for each ambulance and then a spare, so that way if we have to, that way we can get the ambulance back in service quickly. If there's not somebody there that can restock that drug box, there's only a couple of us that have access to those medications. Currently, we can only restock our narcotics at the hospital. We have those in 2 separate boxes. Each non-controlled box contains 33 different medications in varying quantities. Both the inventory, what we carry, and the quantities are strictly regulated by the state. If we deviate from that, essentially we put our license compliance at risk.
These are all non-controlled you're talking about.
That's correct.
Forgive
yeah.
me, but just, okay.
We have 3 different ones for controlled substances. There's 3 different medications. So our local representative, Jim Libby, and I believe he had another representative work with him, have been involved in this. I've been communicating, other service heads have been communicating with them. They reached out to our congressional delegation. We have not heard anything yet back on that as to what, if any, plan of action there is from the senators and our congressmen. Maine Health doesn't seem inclined to reverse their decision. That might change next week. That's all I got to say about that right now. There will be press coverage coming out of this. There has not been any public notice of this. The general public, there was no press release, anything like that. The only people that they communicated this to were service heads and state medical directors. So they're claiming that they've reviewed the rule and that it indicates that they have no choice, that they have to do this. The DEA themselves has stated that that is in fact not true. So essentially at this point, we're hoping that with the congressional delegation involved, they can either leverage a change of course by Maine Health on this, or if nothing else, maybe get us some funding to help offset this. But again, we don't know what's going to happen because we haven't really heard anything back from them yet. So the fiscal impact for us on this is essentially, well, I'll break it out, sort of broken down here in a very simple fashion. I've provided the selectmen with an itemized cost. So obviously that's available if anybody's interested. But the approximate cost in the medications per box, and that wouldn't include the stock that we would have to maintain to restock and that bulk purchasing. Some of these medications, you know, we only need 4 vials in the box, but we'd have to buy 10 or 25 at a time. But the approximate value or replacement value, if you want to call it, per box is approximately $4,500. And that's just that includes, I say box, but that includes the controlled substances as well. Again, many of these will not get used. There's a lot of medications that they're very rarely administered in the pre-hospital environment. They're basically for worst case scenario situations that don't typically occur on a regular basis. So that's approximately, initially, if you add on that that extra from the bulk purchasing, that puts us, our initial buy-in just to maintain a medication inventory at roughly 18,000. That's just for the medications, that's just to get started so we have an inventory. Compliance measures cost is a little unclear right now, and the biggest reason for that is there's multiple options that we can pursue. I'm still in the process of kind of doing comparisons on all of them, trying to get some field research to find out which ones have been the most reliable, what technical support has been the most reliable, because it is a significant amount of money. If we are going to be forced into this, obviously we need to make good decisions and have something that's going to work and work for the long term. But essentially, it's up to 10,000, probably about at the highest. Again, and these are approximate because prices can change on a regular basis. That's an approximate figure for what that would cost us. Unfortunately, we don't know. We can't predict what the ongoing costs would be because we have records quarterly of what we've paid to Maine Med, but again, that's been a one-for-one basis. This would change that significantly. And a lot of the usage is based on call volume, nature of calls. Because this is brand new, we don't have any data yet to even know what we'd be having to spend on an annual basis, even approximately, to maintain that supply. So the unknowns are almost equally as bad as the knowns. The emergency funding request that we made was up to $28,000, essentially worst case scenario, to get us started. If we have to do this, my hope again is that over the next month or two, maybe we'll see some progress on this, and that, you know, essentially maybe a stay of execution, so to speak. The other thing is that in addition to the short-term fiscal impact, due to the larger volume of medications that are going to be ordered from vendors because of all these services having to now do bulk ordering, there's a risk of medication shortages. There's already one medication that we carry, there's already currently a shortage on now. So that's obviously not a fiscal impact, but an operational impact. Yes.
Howard Allen, Limington.
Oh, hi.
Did you get up there?
Yes.
Oh,
Can you wait?
Yeah, you, okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious. Questions as well.
So every town around us is gonna be involved, is gonna be impacted by this, right?
yes. Yep.
So is there any possibility, I mean, you were talking about how, you can't buy just 2 or 3 vials, you're gonna buy a box of them. Could you work with other communities to do group buys together to keep the costs reasonable?
Long term, we definitely could. That's allowed for non-controlled substances. There is a measure for controlled substances as long as you're not distributing amongst other folks more than 5% of your inventory, which the hospital's also been subject to as well, but they maintain a large enough inventory that they don't even approach 5%. The short term, it wouldn't be, but just basically because everybody's got to get started. It'll take a significant, because if we do a region and we've been talking with other services
Sure.
and trying to, right now we're all just trying to compare notes on how we're managing this and responding. But we have discussed in the future that we'd like to do that.
Should work.
So with the ongoing costs, that would help.
He's in the
It's just that it takes time to get that all set up, and we would have to have contracts with each other and things like that, or memorandums of understanding
Okay,
to be able to do that. But that's been discussed.
so you have an initial deadline, I just walked in here, so I
Yeah.
didn't hear the part.
There's actually, well, it's a deadline. However, basically, we're going to have to go all individually as services, and I don't want to use the term grovel, but plead our case with Maine Health to extend that time frame if we're not prepared. which I expect is gonna be a large volume of services because everybody's grappling with the same thing. Nobody can do this in 60 days. It's impossible. Some of that's just obtaining the DEA registration process itself can take months. Then, you know, getting all the costs figured out. There's policies and training and stuff like that, which is actually the easiest part, sadly.
There's an irony for you.
Yeah. So yes, long term, if we are forced to do this at the end of all this, if they see this through and there's no change, ultimately that's our goal. I don't know how many towns would be willing to get involved. Everybody's so occupied with this right now, we really haven't had a chance to talk with each other beyond just like, what are you doing? You know, what did you find out for systems, and what did they give you for a quote? Things like that. So we're all trying to just get through that and figure out how get ourselves ready to go when the time comes. But I definitely anticipate that we're going to be having some meetings and trying to figure out how we can try to mitigate this a bit.
Yeah, I would think the towns you have mutual aid contracts with
Yes.
would be highly motivated to work
I
with
would
you.
expect so, yes. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's just,
Yeah, that was the end of
Yeah.
the slides anyway, but.
last
I'm
week,
happy to
that was,
answer
yeah, just-
any more questions.
So certain impacts are gonna be on the initial, right? The storage and security.
can you slide forward a little bit, because I think that's the
How
zone
many
is,
thousands do we pay for this system?
right?
So I can sit there and talk, but anyway. So there's certain impacts that we have no choice on, whether they extend the deadline or not, right? It's only if they say, we're not going to do it at all,
Yeah.
that we could save the money. We've talked a lot, like the smaller services that don't have staff on shift that are having to do the same work that Corin's going through around their full-time jobs and things like that. So if they have the time to do it now, that's what they're focused on. There's less of the down the road conversations. People are reaching out. I think Corin's probably further ahead than a lot of people because he's actually been able to communicate directly with a representative from the DEA.
Yeah, I actually spoke with him yesterday.
Who seemed to be very helpful with that. Having conversations with Representative Libby. He came here to speak with Corin. I'm not sure where else he's made it to, but so as unfortunate as it is, I think Corin's got us in a good position.
Right.
He's not delaying because we know that other services are hoping that it will go away, and if it doesn't,
They're gonna be bad
they're gonna
off.
be scrambling, and now you've got this load of applications that they've got to process. And the only thing that might come of that is it could help force Maine Health to delay their deadlines, but.
The big picture here is just making sure our community that we serve is still covered. That's, you know, that's the bonus of you guys actually doing the work and getting ahead of the game, per se.
And maintaining our level of service that we've
Right.
been able to provide, which is important.
Because if you don't move forward with this, then, you know, the paramedic, you're down to a basic level and the service it's not good.
So yeah, it's
We have good basics.
Well,
okay?
basic, but the level, yeah.
You know, I think there's questions about, Laura, if now that we have to buy in bulk, can we negotiate better pricing? You know, quarterly, we get a bill from Maine Med from the drugs that we get currently, and you're talking around $450 a quarter that we've been paying to restock expired stuff or whatever. That's gonna be a huge impact.
double, triple.
Our medical supply budget is $16,000. It has been for a few years now, and you know, you're talking about one order that's gonna exceed that whole budget.
Right,
So,
yeah.
we're a little bit better off, oddly enough, being on a calendar budget, because we're halfway through our budget now. Most of the towns around us are on a July fiscal, and they've just finalized their warrants and getting ready to go to vote this month, and now they're finding out about these impacts that they weren't ready for. So, anyway.
Sorry, forgive my ignorance, but Maine Health is the only, this is not a mandate. Are they an insurance company? Is there somebody else that we can shop with?
Maine Health has Maine Medical Center, Portland, Biddeford, Sanford. It's half the state essentially, all the hospitals that Maine Med absorbed. And Maine Medical Center became Maine Health when they started absorbing all these hospitals. And they've traditionally, all those hospitals had been the local suppliers for their ambulance, their local ambulance services. Everybody kind of has done it the same way. And we've been doing it this way for decades. And
Right.
it's worked well. The other thing I forgot to mention, that effectively this puts all these services, unless we're carrying many extra medications on the ambulances, we're essentially out of service if we have to do anything until we get the ambulance restocked.
So there's nobody else that we can shop with?
Not under our current setup.
Because all the hospitals we go to are all Maine Health.
Maine
Yeah.
Health,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, okay.
We
With the
do go
exception
to
of
Mercy
Mercy.
occasionally, well, Northern Light, but they've kind of been out of the business for a long time, so there's, most of the sort of even transport to Mercy, they're going on Maine Med to replace their medications. So it's, yeah, they've kind of had the monopoly on responding ambulances, so.
Okay. And there is an opportunity maybe for co-op, for going in.
In the future, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we go forward with this whole plan and everything sticks, I think there's gonna be a necessity for a lot of these small communities. Because there's no way, we're fortunate enough that, you know, we're getting ahead of the game, but there's some that I worry about that are not. And, you know, you take, just for example, you take Shakopee that doesn't come on board, that's 4 towns that now doesn't have coverage. I mean, this can turn into a really bad event if they don't figure this out, really.
And Jim is actively working on it, Jim Libby.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, but again though, figuring out how to make that kind of hub and spoke thing work between all of us will definitely take a bit of time to figure out, especially because we'll all have to figure out who's gonna purchase what, how many we're gonna have to maintain, or if everybody's gonna purchase a certain amount and then like, we really don't know, and everybody, like I said, everybody's just trying to get through this phase of things. It's kind of occupying all of their time, but that would definitely help, and it would be in everybody's best interest for sure. So,
And some of those impacts are expiration dates.
Yeah.
We've dealt with this all along. They're pushing the next to expire out, right? They want to move their inventory. We're trying to get the furthest to expire. So we go through all the drugs when we go to get them to find the freshest stuff. But when we're ordering from our suppliers, Boundary, when we order from them, they're going to send us whatever they're trying to unload. And so going back to the predicting how much things are going to cost, that's a big factor in that, because if we've got a short shelf life, now we've got to order again, bulk. Who knows what we're getting for expiration dates. So.
And like I said earlier, a lot of the stuff that is going to expire without being used is also the most expensive, naturally. And the other thing is, just in case the question comes up in the future, our reimbursement is fixed, so it doesn't go up based on these additional operating costs. And in our billing, we can't bill, like hospitals will bill for individual items like medications. EMS services can't do that. The rates, we're set at fixed rates that we're allowed to bill at, because our reimbursement rates are in essence managed by the federal government. They set the Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement rates, and private insurers have decided that because the federal government's only reimbursing at this rate, that they are going to as well. And interestingly enough, the federal government's currently discussing lowering those reimbursement rates, which are already lower than the cost of doing business. So there's that as well.
Bonnie
Doesn't cover
Laughlin. Corin, could you remind us, please, about the meeting next week? Who will be there, who can be there, and is it significant, like that would be the meeting at which this will be determined to go through? I thought you said there's a meeting. That's why I came up to
Trying to
ask for
coordinate a
clarification.
Yeah, we're trying to coordinate a meeting with the regional, all the regional services.
Nothing that's
but
scheduled
Yeah, we
over?
haven't said
Oh,
anything
oh,
yet. Yeah, we've just been, sort of been communicating with each other. Myself and the Limerick chief have been in contact. We're sort of trying to help each other out and
There isn't anything
kind of
else?
commiserate together over this. But yeah, we have not been able to get together as a group yet.
Nothing else in the
So-
legislature coming up?
Not that I've been advised, yeah, unfortunately.
Well, thank you, Corin, for coming in and giving that brief overview. We said last week you would have an update of what was going on, so I'm sure we'll have more of an update as we go.
That sounds like it's still
Yeah,
churning.
with any luck, I'd love to hear something next week.
And like I
say,
said,
or the week
I
after.
would expect that starting at some point next week, I don't know exactly when, but once there is
Media coverage.
media coverage on this,
Exactly.
I have a feeling it's gonna become a very hot topic rather quickly, especially with the fact that Maine Health is trying to close the labor and delivery unit at Miles in Damascotta, and that's getting a lot of, there's a lot of upset people over that. So my hope that is between public pressure and legislative pressure, that maybe they'll back off. We'll see. If they stick to the party line that the DEA regulation requires it, that's gonna be interesting because that can be debunked just by, again, the DEA themselves said, nope, you don't have to do anything. This is just if you want to.
And they want to, so. Good, thank you again. I appreciate it.
There's
Oops,
another
sorry, I didn't even, sorry,
Howard?
Just a quick question. Is there anything that we can do, that is, residents of Limington can do to push this the other way?
I would definitely, I think the more, even though the representatives are honest, I think the more responses that they're getting from the public would be good. If they know that people are concerned about this, that would definitely help. I also think, I'm sure, unfortunately, Maine Health is definitely a corporate entity. They may not care, and it's, we unfortunately have less access as members of the public to the higher ups there, but I'm sure if they were flooded with emails, that wouldn't hurt. But I definitely think the most effective route would be for people to reach out to
Mr.
legislators, and federal Congress people and senators, their offices. Again, hopefully there'll be enough people upset about this that there'll be some petition movements or something. If we can get enough people, because this kind of runs the breadth of the state. So if there's enough folks that see how much of an issue this is, if there's enough grassroots, hopefully there'll be something. Like I said, worst case scenario, we get some assistance, across the board of funding. That won't take away the kind of the operational headaches that are gonna come out of this, because that's gonna be an ongoing issue too, but at least would help with the financial ones. Yeah, I would say I think that would be important for anybody that can do that too.
If anybody knows any significant donors to Maine Health or anybody that sits on the board of directors, spread that around too, because I don't know how much that travels, right? How much the management communicates, but unfortunately, the only donor I know isn't alive anymore, but he was significant, and if he were alive now, I'm sure they would hear what he has to say.
Okay, well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
The only thing I would like, can you send your presentation to Matt so I can put it in the minutes?
Yeah,
I did.
okay, perfect. It'll be on the website.
Actually, I think I might have made a couple edits, so I'll send them the updated one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Corin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to department head updates.
All right, department head updates. Public Works Department, transfer station numbers. Total number of transfer station users for May 27th, 30th, and 31st was 185. Total recyclers during that time period was 156 for a percentage of 84.3% transfer users recycling. Revenue taken in those 3 days was $544. Main EMS, because we're talking about it. Limington Fire EMS, week ending May 30th, 2026. Number of calls this week was 17. That was 7 fire calls and 10 EMS calls. Month to date, the fire department's at 51. Year to date, the fire department's at 293 calls. There were a few breaks in the schedule this week, but no calls went to mutual aid as a result. Trainings in-house Wednesday evening was truck check night. All trucks were gone through for defects and inventory. Away Wednesday evening, the chief attended the EMA meeting and training in Alfred regarding the technical large animal rescue. Maintenance, hose testing was completed. 3 lengths of hose failed. A2 went to Wild One Motorsports for an oil change and to do diagnostics on an airbag light. The airbag light issue requires the dealer to service it. This is scheduled for June 3rd. So A2 is out at the dealership at the moment. Month to date, they're 1 call ahead of last year. Year to date, they're 4 calls ahead of last year. There were 4 calls requests for mutual aid this week, 2 EMS calls for Sockby Rescue, fire call to Standish, and an intercept for Limerick. The chief worked a combined hours of 48.25 hours and took a day off. Public Works, week ending May 31st. Road crew worked on Beaver, Berry, and Mill Turn Road. Overhead tree trimming, investigated a hazardous tree complaint on Doles Ridge Road and scheduled its removal. Continued with roadside mowing. Hauled a bus back from the school's bus garage for the rec department. No fleet maintenance this week. Building and grounds, assisted fire department with hose testing. Mowed Davis Memorial Library, Old Town Hall, Municipal Complex, and Blake Memorial Fields. Mowed and cleaned up more at the Momodeo. Mulched Municipal Complex Gardens. Delivered concrete bags to resident in order for them to repair a mailbox post that was damaged during the fire call. Director, weekly payroll, DPW and transfer station weekly numbers reports, weekly DPW report to Board of Selectmen, fuel slips and parts invoices. Met with rep from Allstate Materials Group to review and revise paving plan for the summer. Followed up on sign request. Communicated with the resident about the correct process for creating a new driveway entrance. The department worked combined 196.75 hours this week. Both the excavator and the grader were out of service this week, so some projects have been delayed. Given the holiday, some staff took extra time off. Parks and Rec departments, current weekly programs are before and after school childcare. Coffee social every Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Old Town Hall. Pickleball, t-ball, spring track and field, flag football, youth rugby, adults slow pitch softball. Open registration, register online at limingtonrec.com. Summer camp registration for Camp Momodeo, 6 weeks starting July 6th and running through August 14th. 4th of July parade, which will be Saturday, July 4th at 10 a.m. Sign up to be in the parade or volunteer to help with the event. The theme for the parade is historic American figures. Madison is encouraging and hope to have more floats this year and maybe see the likes of George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Betsy Ross, Tammy Ramsdale, patriots that helped make this country so great.
Historic?
Yeah.
Old?
Fireworks show this year will be July 3rd at dusk. Momodeo is open for the season, $10 per vehicle, where season passes are available for $50 for residents, $75 for non-residents. Pete's Place Pavilion and the picnic areas are available for rental. Stop into the entry booth to make your reservation. Our Highlanders rugby team traveled down to Lancaster, Mass. this past weekend for a rugby tournament hosted by the Reapers Youth Rugby Club. Athletes played their hearts out, and with our kids competing in the K through second grade division and the 5th, 6th grade division and the middle school division. Team got to wear their brand new uniforms, courtesy of our team sponsors, Sleeper Supermarket, Stone X, DNR Paving and Seal Coating, and JM Gagnon Construction. This weekend, the team heads down to Quincy, Mass. to play games before the New England Free Jacks game, Sunday, June 14th. Our team will be hosting a tournament. Okay. So Sunday, June 14th, the team will be hosting a tournament here in the Limington at Blake Memorial Field. That's kind of a run-on sentence.
Well, thank you. Went through that. The town manager's not here. He's PTO day. Old business. Really didn't have any old business left over from last week. New business, Jake, not from State Farm. Are you
Jake.
coming out here, Jake?
Oh, look, it's Jake.
Okay. So Jake is gonna present the raffle winner. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went right over that, sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So, as you know, we've been doing a raffle, a monthly raffle for people that are recycling up at the transfer station. So, we're gonna draw for the month of May, which the prize is a season beach pass for Moy-Madeo.
Nice, nice.
Should make you read it too. All right, and the winner is,
Been there, done that.
uh-oh.
Picture with your phone and then zoom in. Sam got it.
I believe that's what it says. All right, I was just confirming. Looks like Sam got it. So I will leave this with the ladies at the front desk, so you can come and pick up your pass.
Perfect. Well, congratulations.
Just bring 3 forms of ID and, no, I'm just kidding.
$20.
Six pack, did you say?
Sam got it.
Yes,
Sam
and
got
I did want to also announce next month's drawing.
Oh, that's, Jake,
Oh, what do you have?
this might help. Well, if you want to,
Funny.
they can
Yeah,
put this
come
in
on
the
up.
transfer station thing,
Wow.
just to help
She's
people
done a
know where it
flyer.
is. Is that good?
So special thanks and shout out to Bonnie Laughlin, who asked if she could help because she loves the idea of encouraging people to recycle, I believe. That's kind of what our conversation was. And I said, hey, find us some things to raffle off. So she did, and she did an amazing job. So Saco River Martial Arts has donated a gift certificate, good for one child to Little Dragons,
Or adult, or family.
one child or adult to any other program for 1 month. So that's a 1-month membership of classes at Saco River Martial Arts. And we have one of those that we're gonna raffle off for the month of June. So get your recycling in, get your ticket, and hopefully I don't see you in a dark alley, I guess, after martial arts training.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thanks, Bonnie.
That camera's on, but I will be posting that up at the transfer station so you can see that.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Bonnie.
Thank you, I hope people
Awesome.
enjoy it. It's for a family membership also, Jay,
Yes, so
Like,
a
worth
family
people
membership or child membership to the Little Dragons, and
or the whole family can go
yes,
for a month.
Perfect.
which is awesome.
Excellent.
It's a great gift certificate, and thank you to Saco River Martial Arts as well.
Yeah.
Definitely shout out to them.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
That's a very generous gift certificate.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
To circle back real quick with the review of office hour discussions, we went over the proposal of the roads contract, the paving contract, and have approved that in office today. So the total contracts come to $437,954.85 this year. Pretty much gonna cover 10 roads with a shim coat to hold them where they're at, and then next year we'll be hit with the top coat to finish them. This way, it's allowing us to get pretty much all the roads on the docket done and based this year, and then hit it with the top coat. With any luck, next year the cost of paving will be down, and we'll be able to get more done. But there was a lot put in with Emil and Charlie and Junior from Allstate. They went around, spent hours on the roads looking for the right setup to do, and I think it's great. And it's gonna cover most of the roads.
It's 11, right?
11, yeah. I think 11 total.
There's 11 roads, and so when we first met, the plan was to shim and overlay, because that's what we do. And that bid came in at $823,000. We have a $470,000 budget. So we met back, Junior did a ton of work, reviewing the roads and the work that was gonna be done, and trying to figure out how to get the most for the money we had. And then we met with Charlie again, and we all agreed that to get the most for this money and preserve the most roads, we can shim the roads this year, so it holds them where they're at instead of continuing the deterioration. And then now we have a plan to start with next year in the budgeting process. So once we get to budgeting, I'll be reaching out to them again, and based on those prices at that point, we can say, all right, the same number of roads is gonna cost us this much to overlay. And so, we had to choose, do we cut the list in half, shim and overlay, and leave the other roads till next year? But the fear in that is, with the condition that they're in now, they're only gonna continue to deteriorate and could cost more if we held off on those roads. So this smooths the roads out, which will reduce hopefully damage to plow trucks, and bind the roads where they're at, and then we'll be able to do the top coat. And this idea isn't new by any means, especially roads that are getting rebuilt or new roads. A lot of times they'll do the base, leave them for a season, and then they'll come back and do the top coat on them, so.
Good. Yes, so that was one of the things. What else did we go
Well, we
over?
had more discussions with the chief about other issues, not issues, but ideas, and moving forward on some things.
Yeah.
Grant money, ordinances,
Yep.
Hazardous trees on Hanscom School Road.
hazardous trees, we spoke about the hazardous trees on the Ansem School Road, the one on Dole's Ridge.
We talked about the trees at the mill pond.
Well, we didn't, because we never saw each other there
Oh,
while we were sweating out there, but
Oh, we
if
did
you wanna talk
discuss-
about
We
it.
did discuss them in here, so it was in office. That was discussed. Yeah.
there was a miscommunication.
I love you, but you
Some were
weren't there,
there
we were
early,
there.
some were there later, but general consensus was,
We
we
were all
got it
there.
done.
Yeah, so we talked about the trees for the 4th of July fireworks show. And I think he said anything from
That big tree.
the big
Joe
tree
Webster
across
Road
the-
left.
Joe Webster Road left can be fanned out, weeded out, so the view could be better for the fireworks.
So,
I'll just elaborate on a couple other things that we talked about. One was painting the lines on Dole's Ridge Road.
Yep.
We had intended to do that last year, but by the time the road got paved, it was getting too cold to be able to paint. But I've got that scheduled, not a date, but we're on his list when he comes back from Massachusetts. And he's honoring the quote that we had last year. So if anybody's watching on that road that's waiting for it to get done, it is getting done. We're just waiting for it to happen. And then the guardrail on Tucker Bridge, finally got a quote from Gorham Fence, and they're hoping to get it done this month. We have barricades down there for now, because there is no guardrail on one side. And so hopefully that'll be taken care of soon.
Excellent. Thank you. I think that about sums up
I think so.
the old business, new business, and public comment.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Allen.
Howard Allen, 178 Secocas. As I think all of you know, I'm running for school board rep for the at-large representing Limington. And one of the questions I have for the Board of Selectmen is how much interaction have you folks had with the school board, previous school board rep? Is that something that's important to you? Because if you look at the model of how we're supposed to work, there's supposed to be a member on the budget advisory committee who's also on the school board representing the town. So the question is that something that you would find helpful? Is that something that really doesn't matter?
I would say definitely helpful, because who was
We tried,
the lady that we met with last year? Deb?
Well, that was Miss Black, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think it would be helpful, because the school board, the budget, we never know what's gonna be. We can guess, but we never, I think in the time I've been in office, I've only had one meeting. I think I think it was, like you said, Deb, she came in and went over some stuff with us, but that's all I've ever had, other than this, Clay and the board coming in and presenting.
came in.
We've never,
but they invited representatives from the town to go to their budget meetings.
they wanted two reps.
Two people, and
I thought we sent two people to the budget meetings.
there were.
My biggest thing was to meet with them, which never happened,
Right, they never came back in here to say.
to
what
let us
they-
know how the
they were
school budget was
observing.
going.
So,
But, yeah, so to answer your question, I think it would be helpful.
I think during
Definitely.
the budget season, for me, during the budget season, it would be nice to have someone who was representing the school for the town, or the town through the school. It would be nice to see more interaction there, so we know where the school is thinking about going. So we can better predict budgets. I think through the year, I think if anything important or drastic comes up, I think it should come to the board, just so we know it's happening and we can answer questions when people come up here.
Okay, because that's a role that I see myself playing if I do get elected, which, is anybody's guess whether I will or not. Because to me, sitting on the sidelines, the whole school budget process is very murky. Stuff seems to go on behind closed doors, and, you don't really get a good sense of it. And I think a lot of people have complained about the lack of transparency. And talking to school board people, they don't see it as a matter of transparency. They just see it as, well, we do all the work behind the, in our offices and meetings, and then we present that to the public. So, I mean, do you really want to see more than that? And I'm thinking, well, looking at our town's budget process, I've got a whole book that tells me where every dollar was spent. And to me, that's transparency.
Because at the end of the day, it's still your tax dollars that are going to the school.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you have every right to know
Yeah,
where it goes.
yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think it ain't gonna hurt anything.
Communication never hurts.
No, gee, it's absolutely.
the more
So,
the better.
One of the problems, of course, is that our town budget cycle is 6 months out from their budget cycle. So that's always gonna be a problem. I don't know how we can solve that.
we always do our best to take
try
a
to
guess on where they're gonna be,
Right.
just from the hearsay, but having somebody that actually can report and maybe have a better clarity of where that's gonna be.
Idea of what's going on in
Right,
talks.
not
Well,
taking
that
us.
was the idea with sending two people
Right.
before, because
And
we were
nothing
hoping to
ever
have
got-
meetings with
Maybe
them.
they didn't find anything out, and that's why they couldn't report back.
I mean, you can still
I
report
don't
something,
know.
like,
I don't know.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
yes,
There's always something
absolutely,
to
to answer your
report,
question, I think
know.
it's great, I think it'd be helpful.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of time commitment involved. When I started running for this thing, I had no idea what the time commitment really was. And now that I know what it is, it's like, I'm glad I'm retiring. Thank you.
Thanks, Howard.
and if anything, if you feel like it's important, we're always gonna listen,
Oh,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I just can't keep my mouth shut.
Yay!
I know historically, the budget wise, they have their budget meetings on Thursdays, right? Because they always wanted the board to
Yeah.
attend, but
Yeah.
it conflicts. But I would suggest that maybe that gets added as a 311 option through the town's website. That way maybe Howard could get an email if people do have questions, they can go to one avenue to get that.
From the school board.
Yeah.
So if he gets elected.
If
put him-
elected.
Yeah,
Maybe,
if he, yeah,
They don't
and add
send
more to
emails
his
to nobody.
job.
I think you will.
Yeah. Yep,
And I think you'll do a good job, but we all do department reports on the weekly, but maybe, on a monthly basis or quarterly, he could submit that, come in, either present it or at least have it available for you guys to
Yeah,
list
I'd
off
be
some
glad to
points,
do that.
so.
yeah,
Be
no,
glad to do
absolutely,
that.
it's a great idea.
Yep.
Bonnie,
Thank you. Bonnie Lord Laughlin, Cape Road. I was just here in the audience tonight and wanted to say that over the years, my understanding of our ability to participate in the budget process of the school board has always been open to the public. And I feel kind of badly that this past year I wasn't able to attend, but the year before, 2025, I was there. And many other years before, I just remember going because as a member of the public, it was something good to do. And I care about our schools, I care about the budget, so I came forward. And there were, it seems to me in the past, many more people from the public who would go. I don't know if you all have gone over the years, I bet you have. I think some of you have gone to school locally. So it is something that is the right thing for the public to do, I think, when we can. It was on May 6th this past year. It was later than that the year before. And serving on the Budget Advisory Committee, I will get better info from you all and perhaps from everybody here. But my understanding is not that the school board also serves on the Budget Advisory Committee. I've been asked to serve on the Budget Advisory Committee in the past, and it is a big commitment. It's an important commitment. It was a conflict for me then, and I don't know. I'm just one person who, I guess, because I don't know why I was asked really, but I care about budgets, and I feel that it's the responsibility of all of us to participate when we can. So maybe that could be clarified. Perhaps I heard it wrong, but I don't think the school board is also a member of the Budget Advisory Committee. The Budget Advisory Committee, as I understand, is a pretty cool thing to do. And when you're making the point that there are two people from a town, that means who serve on the school board. But I don't know how many people can serve on the Budget Advisory Committee. Maybe you can tell us about that. I guess the point I'm trying to
No,
make is,
They asked us to send two just residents
just residents, representatives.
to
the
Limington.
Budget
to
Advisory
go to-
Committee.
No, not to the budget advice, but to the budget talks, I believe, that they were having
Yeah.
at the time.
they asked for two people to go, really?
Yeah, they were asking from each town to go.
Oh, because the public is always invited. The whole public is invited.
I think it was just the link between the town and their meetings, so that people can report back.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So did you all ask somebody to do that
We
this
asked
year?
a couple of people.
Yep,
I guess I wasn't one of those lucky people.
Cause you're busy.
I wasn't asked.
Hey, there's always next year.
yeah, but if they come in this
Right.
year,
They requested
But you,
them.
that's okay. I mean, you asked some people who couldn't go.
no,
but-
No, cause I thought we put it out to the
we
public.
put it out to the public.
Yeah, I thought it was a meeting, we were
And-
asking people to
And
volunteer.
then we actually advertised it, saying we need people at our meetings for a number of weeks, that we need two people for the board. And I think we got two, I don't know who they were, but
I'm sorry, for the board, Jason?
for, not the board, for what they were asked, they wanted two representatives from Limington to, show up at their
Financial Advisory Committee meetings.
meetings. Not to represent, but to bring information back, is what my understanding was.
So not to be members of the budget
No,
advisory?
just to observe.
Just to observe and report.
Observe each meeting or once?
Yeah, they gave the whole lot of
Yeah, it
meetings.
was a
It was-
scheduled meeting, I have them on my desk.
There were like 6 or 7 meetings
Yeah.
with the dates that they had given to us, that they were
Leading
to
up to their
attend.
budget.
The whole budget was presented, as you know, on May 6th. That's where the public can certainly go.
These were in December,
This was like, yeah.
January, February.
Got it. But the Budget Advisory Committee meets other times throughout the year. And at the same, and so they would be people who would be on that committee regularly. But you're saying there was also a special call for folks to go? Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
so good, there are all these opportunities. And maybe this discussion is really great because, a lot of people recognize, people want to get involved. They may need to be educated a little bit about the opportunities. And it may be that there is a lot of the public out there that would respond once they get aware of everything.
Because
Thanks.
during our budget process, I requested that we have those meetings with those two people, so we can get an idea where the school was thinking they wanted to go.
But you did
then
ask
Brandon.
folks, you asked people, and whoever these people were wouldn't be able to go.
No, as far as I know, they were going
As
to
far
these
as we
meetings.
knew, they went.
Yeah.
I requested from the town manager to set up meetings on our Thursdays if they could, or report back to us when they could, so.
I thought you said that you asked and people wouldn't go. And then I said to that, gee, I wasn't asked.
No, as far as we know, they went to the meetings.
Yeah.
They didn't come back here to report.
Yeah.
We didn't see them,
Okay, so you
Physically.
there were two people that you asked and they went?
yes.
They weren't members of the committee,
Nope,
and they're
nope,
certainly not members of the board,
nope,
Correct.
just members of the town.
public that you asked for to go, and they did. You just didn't hear back from them. Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Oh, boy.
Public comment.
Hey, well.
Okay, with that,
Okay.
we'll move on to the meeting to.
Is it Jake or Jason?
Pick one.
When you,
It was my recollection that what you were looking for was for the budget advisory,
Yeah, was there financial advisory committee meetings?
not
that
the
they-
board, not the school board, but members to be on the advisory committee. I thought
Budget
that's what,
advisory.
I thought that's what they were looking for this
Yes.
last.
They
That's what,
advertise
because you
it.
advertised that, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was for the advisory committee or whatever it is that they have, not just somebody to go sit.
my
at the meeting.
assumption,
They were just gonna go.
yeah, they weren't, they were looking for liaisons between that board
Right.
and to come back and report to the select.
Between the school board, right?
From the budget meetings, the meetings to.
Yeah, it was all the meetings leading up for their budget
So
process.
the school board has a subcommittee which is focused on the budget.
Budget.
So that is the group that probably was asking for the representatives from the towns to attend.
I have it at my
Either way, it's
desk.
over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I just, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all good, so. And clarify.
I'm sorry, and thank you that there's a bit of a discussion about that, because
Next year would be good.
I'm not familiar with all of the committees of the school board,
Myself either.
There's a ton of them.
but I believe there
There
could
is
be
a
a
ton of them.
budget committee, but that is separate from the Budget Advisory Committee, which is, in my understanding, not made, the BAC is not budget, I think it's a Budget Advisory Committee, is made up of members of the public who are not school board members. But again, just like you all might have a subcommittee of yourselves for something that would be a subcommittee of the select board, I don't know. But then there could be a public, it could be the Financial Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
That isn't a group of the select board, right? Okay,
Yeah, I don't know what they're, I would probably divert your question to asking the board, their board, because I can't answer what.
okay, but
yeah.
again, you all were making a distinction a moment ago that it wasn't the Budget Advisory Committee and
They
it
were
wasn't the
asked to
school
go
board.
to the,
It was-
whatever budget meetings, he's got the paperwork on his desk that he can probably explain to you after or next week. I don't know, I just know that we picked two people, two people volunteered. They went, and then we never got any response back from them,
How
so.
many, and you said they went several times?
There was 6 or 7 meetings that they had different dates laid out and,
Yeah.
Yep.
That they were able, that would,
Did you ask them to come back and talk and report about?
that was the whole point of the position, yes.
Right, but they did not do that? They-
No,
not as far as we know.
no, unless they met with Matt, but I don't believe so.
Well, I had requested Matt to reach out to them, have them come talk to us about when we were going through the budget process. Because we were concerned if we were gonna overshoot the budget process or be under.
Right, we didn't wanna be
Presenting it to
under.
the town, so.
Yeah, but
Okay, well, I appreciate the conversation. There.
I'm sure we'll probably hear more coming into this next, they may approach us again for the positions. And in that case, I will definitely direct it to you, Bonnie, and have, because you'll be able to figure it out a lot.
I don't know. I think
Won't
it's,
be here on Thursdays. I'm just kidding.
I think it's too bad that if the select board
Yeah.
did identify 2 people to be involved in these budget discussions, and they went 6 times or so, whether they were actually therefore to serve on the committee of the Budget Advisory Committee, which in my understanding is a citizens committee, not members of the school board. And if you all asked them, but they weren't also, neither of those 2 people for 6 meetings didn't come back and talk to you after that? That seems like it's a communication problem that we can't blame anybody
No.
for. It's a communications. Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else?
No motion to adjourn. I'm just curious if there's been any follow-up that I've missed, or if there will be, regarding the revaluation. I know everybody's received letters and there were opportunity to come in and meet. But I'm just kind of curious the feedback of that, like, after, what was it, 3 years ago when they did the market value adjustment, we were told that this is necessary because it was gonna make the valuations accurate and people would save money because they'd have a true valuation and blah, blah, blah. All I've heard from the letters that went out is that everybody's valuation went up and their taxes will go up based on that letter, even though the mill rate will go down. And so I'm just curious, are there any numbers coming into you guys about this many properties saw a decrease or increase and, things like that?
Not yet. We haven't had a meeting with O'Donnell's on that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have a meeting to show the big increases, the average, the decreases, and the whereabouts, and I think it should happen here shortly because
think so. You guys
have
all
set
the
the rate.
meetings have
He
already
said that we
happened.
would have that.
Yeah, all the meetings would happen, so.
To be able to get the tax bills in time, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
whether
if
you
he's
guys
been in
do it
touch with
or I do it
Patty.
on my own, I would be very interested to know, based on the 2025 valuations, so before all these changes took place, what the mill rate would have been. Because we worked very hard to reduce
Right.
the impact, and it seems like a lot of taxpayers are gonna see an increase in their tax bill, which means somebody's gonna be seeing significant decreases. Because it's based around the budget, right? And we had even calculated, I think I had calculated a 7% increase for the school budget, and that, I think, is coming in at 5.5%. So
Yes, it
it should be
is.
better off than I had predicted, so just like to see that.
Right. I agree, so, well, O'Donnell's, we probably should,
Reach out,
yeah, because
shoot him an email.
we're supposed to have a
When did
meeting
we see
We were
last,
supposed to have a meeting last
2
week.
weeks, so, but, yes, I will have more on that next week, so,
Is that right?
what's that?
Maybe see.
Next week?
Yes, I'm hoping that as long as maybe we can get O'Donnell's in here. He's
Yes.
pretty good, he's really good, so if we send him an email, he'll gladly come in and meet with us, and I think that's a great idea to find out. Because mine increased, so, I mean, I was one of
You
the,
also have a palace.
no, I don't, I was undervalued and mine went up,
And you knew you were undervalued.
so. Anybody else? No? In that case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have to double check here. Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? We will be adjourned at 8:13. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jake.